Hi everyone, it's James here from Pro Tools Expert, and like Julian was earlier, I'm still here at Challow Park Studios with Will Biggs. We're going to talk studio design, studio build. I think it's fair to say this is a work in progress.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you're not doing things by halves, are you?
No, this is not the smallest home studio ever built.
But it is, I mean, this is something that we don't get to see. We do not get to see studios in process.
No, I'm glad you're here at this point because it's, I think, the most interesting time to see a studio is under the skin.
And you're working. You have a working facility.
Yeah.
You've got gear installed.
Yeah, we're recording albums regularly.
And doing stuff.
Yes.
But we're in what is currently the control room, but I don't think it's going to stay that way, is it?
No, so this was designed to be control room 2 and was going to be a rented out room. And as soon as we were, watertight, clients needed to be in and working. So I put a pair of speakers in and set this room up as a temporary room.
So
18 months ago.
currently no console. You're running an MC control as your control surface.
Yeah, because it's got a zoom button.
It's also got chair mode, which I really like as well.
Oh yeah, I just use it as the zoom.
Running Pro Tools HD.
Yeah.
And as of today, you're running HDX.
Yeah.
And it works. It's all good.
I might be the most unpopular man in the world, but Pro Tools is great. I haven't had a problem.
I totally agree. When you use it like it's designed to be used.
It's a tape recorder.
Exactly. Tape recorder and a mixing desk.
Yeah. I love it.
So down here, you've got your lovely Redneck Rig and some other toys. But as we discovered from your chat with Julian, a lot of it's not getting much action these days.
No, it's not. It's all set up on the patch bay. It all works as inserts in Pro Tools. They're all patched. I just hit the button. But no, they're not being used.
Is that because you're just not working that way? You're not working... are you a commit to tape type guy, or are you now resorting to plugins, or has your workflow changed?
My workflow has entirely changed. I was always a commit to tape. So I would EQ...
You have to go, these days, tape.
It'll always be tape. I will always roll tape. It's always going to be tape in my world. So yeah, I used to go through them and straight down onto the door. But with the way I work with the Redneck Pres, there's no sensible point to put them in and tracking. You may as well do it on replay because there's no benefits to it. So I was using particularly the Rebis, the Maslek was sitting as my main compressor. It's phenomenal. Neve as a drum bus, DBX 160 for bass, Rebis as just a general. In fact, anything you put through it sounds like it's gone on a tape machine. It's amazing. And then the Compex for general purpose use. But for the last 2 months, they haven't been on. Might
it be an eBay time, or are they one of those things that they're staying there even if they get switched on?
We're about to move to the new control room.
Right. Which we'll have a look at in a second.
We will go and see. Where we're putting in a large format console. And then they will be in use.
Right. But in the interim, while you're in the box,
yeah,
it's that they're elegant window dressing.
Yeah, and I keep starting a project and going, yeah, I'm going to use this, and then I'm working on like an album project at the moment, and we'll dip in and out of songs, so it becomes a nightmare because you've got to save the settings, remember what you were doing.
Camera comes out.
Yeah, and then you forget that you've done it, and yeah, I use a UAD card, and yeah, it's really good.
They are really
good. It's depressingly good.
It's tech depressingly good? I mean, have you got... Obviously, certainly in a state of flux is probably an understatement of the day so far.
Yeah.
But is there racks and racks of outboard gear waiting for the main control room to...
Yeah. I've got a bit more.
We're going to get to see any of that?
No, because most of it's in the container down the road.
Right.
It's mostly multiples of this.
Right.
I'm trying to get hold of an original LA2A at the moment. That's a bit of a mission.
Yes, I can imagine why.
But a friend of mine recently built this, which is an Altec Lansing copy from the original EMI studios at Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So I think we might actually build our own LA2As.
Because I tried the Chandler one recently.
Okay.
And it's stunning. I mean, it is utterly beautiful.
We tried the Lisson Grove, which is amazing.
Yeah, but it's serious dough. So
Well-
the Chandler is best part £2,500.
I think the Listen Grove is about the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't buy hand-built quality electronics for no money because of the bits in them.
Yeah.
Because there's a company called Drip who make kits for the LA2A.
Yeah.
I think it'll still cost you £1,800.
Yeah, and then you've got to put it together yourself.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, you've written off components.
Yes. Can't swear, can I?
I'd rather you didn't.
Yes, it would be bad.
Does that mean you have written off components in the past?
No, not yet. But I have seen it done.
Cool. So your main monitors, these are going to be your monitors of choice when we move next door?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know they're JBL. What are they?
They're JBL M2s, so they're the master reference monitor. They're a 15-inch main drive unit with a large dispersion horn on the top. I run them on a pair of Crown 5000 iTech amplifiers with built-in DSP, so custom crossovers. They are phenomenal.
And I can say this out loud. They are loud.
Yeah, they do loud.
They do loud. They sound fantastic. I mean, if this is control room 2 or the B room, call it what you will, it sounds pretty damn fine in here so far.
And these were never supposed to be in here.
Right.
They just came in because I had them and I wanted somewhere to work. They're now staying. We're about to get another pair.
And with that, we'll move next door. So we've come out of control room, the B control room.
Yeah.
And we're now in a space with, bits of console, to be fair.
Yeah. So this is a 1981 Soundcraft 2400.
It's what we had at college, believe it or not.
I can. Wow. You're that old?
Yeah.
Fair play. This we bought from Barb in Albuquerque.
Right.
So we shipped.
So it's well travelled.
Oh, yeah. Built up the road, designed here, built up the road, and then.
But when you say here, you mean actually here
So
as well?
my father-in-law designed. This was his baby. Yeah, Soundcraft 2400. Basically, an upgrade for the 1600 to 24 buses.
Yep.
Circuitry's the same. It's a lovely. Yeah. I like it a lot.
It's a proper console.
It's a proper console. So the reason it's in bits is we bought it, we stripped it, and we decided it's unbalanced on most of its inputs.
Yep.
The inserts are unbalanced. The patch bay is horrible and not big enough for me. So we've just designed, in fact, these are our PCBs for doing all our I/O. So it takes everything into fully balanced inserts, send and returns, auxes, masters, subgroups, everything becomes balanced on it now.
It's very handy having a technical father-in-law for moments like that, I suspect.
Now there's pros and cons.
So what's this room going to be? Because obviously, I say there's open ducting. We've got the
ducting should be the frame around the ducting is where we're going to be boxing in. And the thing that I've been trying to do here is not to box things in to make it look pretty at the moment until I know that everything's in.
Absolutely.
And we're really now at a point where we know what's going in. So it'll all be finished. This was originally going to be a place with a sofa and probably will become a place with a sofa. This room that you probably can't quite see on camera, but there's a room over there, which was going to be our kitchen. And the room behind me was going to be the studio office. We've changed a few things.
Is this one of those plans and designs that's evolved over time?
Yeah, well, we start, you draw it all on paper. You think, oh, yeah, this will work brilliantly. And we deliberately didn't push ourselves into completing things until we'd understood how we use a building. Because I don't think anybody knows how they're going to use a building unless
Certainly
it's enforced upon them. Yeah, it's a very, and as we've talked about Redneck and the way that's changed, this has changed the way we work. So this is just going to be a space. Now, all of the rooms are linked, so there's no reason why we couldn't just put a drum kit in here.
Because it's a great sounding space.
Yeah.
You've got also
You've got a nice
natural light. We know is a good thing for creativity and passion and all that sort of stuff that we all go on about when tracking. But actually, you've got a fantastic view out over the Oxfordshire countryside.
Yeah. I mean, there may be weeds, but there are weeds,
And say when they're tamed, they'll
be fine. They'll be fine. So yeah, this was always going to be, we have a friend who's an architect who always describes this as a breakout space.
Yep, I like that.
So it was just going to be the main link in this part of the building. And we were going to have a dining table in here. So, because food is the most important thing in our studio.
I think, say, after what time do you have to be there, the next most important thing to be said is, what are you having for lunch?
Yeah. No, food is the most important thing here. We always do lunch for every session. If it's a longer session, there's lunch and dinner. And then because we're residential,
Yep.
food's important. So that's what it was going to be. But now, currently it holds the desk, which has become a table, which it won't for long. And the main link into the vocal booth, which is behind us here. But I think it's going to get used to recording more and more. That seems to be happening with every space we have.
Well, there have been many and various things on TV with plenty of producers and engineers who have the home studios who record in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's not a studio, it's a space.
Yeah.
As long as it's got either tie lines or whatever, and you can run cables through
Cat
doors
5
or whatever.
port.
Yeah.
All you need in my world is a Cat 5 port.
Awesome. So we'll have a quick look into the vocal booth because there's some goodies in there as well.
Yeah.
So we're in the vocal booth,
We
and
are.
quite frankly, this is the largest vocal booth in history.
Well, at least you can make a singer stay here for a while.
This is actually about the same sort of width, and actually my drum room is smaller than
Well,
this.
It's designed when I was... so I wasn't going to have this room here. The corridor to our left, which we'll do a floor plan. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Was designed so that I can push a piano out of the main room and never put it on its side to get it into my live room.
Right.
I scrapped that idea when I realised I was never going to do it. So I added this room, and I realised that this was... A drum riser is normally an 8x4 sheet.
Yeah.
This is 3 8x4 sheets.
Cool.
So it should be more than big enough to get a drum kit in. We haven't tried it yet. I keep meaning to. But
Drums in here would sound great, I think. It's there's an ambience, but it's quite dry. It's not.
there is no reverb tail in this room.
Right.
I don't think you'd be able to.
I think I'm probably hearing it from
out there. But I don't like it. It's small rooms. People do a lot of absorption, and they become, as you put absorption in, you lose top end, and it really boosts the mid, and you just get boxy, horrible.
So for me, diffusion is the way forward.
Yes.
Because I'd say certainly in my drum room, I've got a dirty great diffuser behind me and absorption in front of me.
Right. Okay.
So
Which actually we have absorption here.
Yeah.
And diffusion laterally and vertically.
Yeah. So actually we're on the same page.
Or right, as I like to call it.
Yeah, I like that too. So obviously this is a self-build, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You haven't had any contractors in, and we'll try and find some pictures as we're going through of the building process. Because like I say, one of the interesting things is you don't get to see this in because generally the big boys don't want to show you this.
No, I like to be able to see what's behind everywhere. I mean, this room, apart from a bit of tidying up here where the Hessian is, and in the corner that you can't see, there's a bit more tidying up to do. This is finished. The concrete that you can see, that stays. The exposed timber work with the cabling on it. Yeah.
And I love this kind of, is it called poured concrete construction?
Yeah, so it's shuttered and poured concrete.
And it's absolutely solid. There's no two ways about it.
It's pretty reasonable.
Put it like this, if there is ever World War III, you're sorted.
A lot of our clients seem to think that they've actually got rights to come here when the zombies come.
During the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, we've got lots of spam.
And if you don't get that, you have to look it up. I love the fact that you've made lots of little bits and pieces as well.
Yeah.
I particularly admire the ceiling mounted mic stand. And it's actually really nice because it gets rid of all the clutter.
Well, and singers do this.
Yeah.
And obviously you acoustically pick that up in this room, but that's fine. But you don't get that weird resonance through the mic stand. So we use a lot of Latch Lake mic stands, which are amazing.
Yep.
But even with their Bigfoots, you still pick up ground resonance through it. And let's just say that this is a great mic, but the shock mount is useless.
Shocking.
Yes.
They generally are.
Have you ever had a good one?
No, actually, no.
No. So this works really well, and I recommend it to anybody who can do it. Mount on the ceiling or off a wall. Mm-hmm. Even with one of those radio... Have you seen the radio presenter's arms that you can get?
Yeah.
They work great.
So are we, floor-wise, we are isolated from the walls, presumably?
Oh, yeah.
And we're on puck mounts or shock mounts or rubber or...
No, that's far too expensive for us. So we have... The whole building is essentially a concrete cube.
Right.
If you had a big enough crane, you could just pick this thing up.
Right. A very, very big
Quite
crane.
a large crane. So what we've done is we have... inside each room, we've put insulation on the floor, which then we've got soft insulation around the corners of the wall so it doesn't touch. Then we've built 2 layers of 22mm chipboard, which is glued and screwed together.
Yep.
Then we have the best underfloor. If you put like laminate floor down, you get like a little layer.
Yeah.
We found one that works.
Did you? It wasn't that black lino stuff?
No. No, it's dead cool.
Okay, well, we're going to share that with.
We'll show you a piece in a moment. And then we've got the laminate floor sitting on top of it. Right. So the floor is essentially floating inside the walls.
Right.
And it seems to be working well. And it's very economical.
And say, you're not a trained builder, you're not a trained joiner, but everything you've done in here is your handiwork.
Yep, if you can see it. I didn't build the speakers. But,
no, funnily enough.
Yeah, QRDs, everything. Yeah, doors.
It's an amazing feat of engineering and an amazing piece of work.
But anybody could do it.
I think, now I agree, as in a
you just got to want to.
I built my own, and this is like my shed on an industrial scale.
But it's the same thing individually, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you have to be a certain mindset and a certain...
But if you work in a studio, if you want to be in a studio, you must have that in you.
I'd hope so. But I do know lots of people who couldn't wire a plug, let alone know what a soldering iron is.
But what do they do in the studio then?
Answers on a postcard, please, to anyone but us.